Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to the Wyoming Women's Business Center's 2021 webinar series. Today's presentation is Don't Fall Prey to the Newest Scams. This is the third and final webinar in our Practical Cybersecurity for Your Business series. I'm Veronica Donahue from our COVID-19 support program, and I will be your moderator today. Now, before we start, I want to point out the GoToWebinar control panel on the right side of your screen, and I want to call special attention to both the questions panel and chat box. If you have any comments or questions during the webinar today, I'd like you to use those to communicate with us. This webinar is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be sent out to all registrants shortly following the live event today. You can also visit our website at wyomingwomen.org and navigate to the Training tab or Trainings page to view all upcoming webinars and past webinar recordings. If you're watching this webinar live, a survey will launch shortly after we close this presentation in your web browser. Please complete this survey as it provides us and our funding partners with valuable information. And as a reminder, all participants are muted to minimize background noise. So once again, if you have any questions or comments during the presentation, please type them in the chat box or questions panel. Now, before I introduce Laura Baker from Cyber Wyoming, I want to give some quick information about the Wyoming Women's Business Center in case you're not familiar with our organization already. The Wyoming Women's Business Center is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to enable and empower Wyoming entrepreneurs with a special emphasis on women who are economically or socially disadvantaged. And we do this through 4 distinct programs. The first is our business counseling and training program, which is always free. The second is our microfinance programs, which offer microloans and individual development accounts. Third is the Artist Development Center we run in conjunction with our Works of Wyoming gift store in downtown Laramie. And lastly, we recently launched our COVID-19 support program early in the summer of 2020. This webinar is brought to you by the COVID-19 support program, and I want to call special attention to the list of services available to Wyoming business owners when they become clients. You can sign up by going to wyomingwomen.org or contact me directly for more information. My contact email and phone number are listed at the bottom of the screen. Okay, now that we have gone through those opening slides, I'm so happy to introduce our guest presenter, Laura Baker. Laura is the co-founder and executive director of Cyber Wyoming. I'll just turn over controls to her now, and you should see her screen appear momentarily. Laura, it's so great having you on today.
Thank you for having me, Veronica. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, it looks great.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you and the Wyoming Women's Business Center a lot. Today, I'm excited to talk to you all about some of the newest scams to be aware of. Awareness is a key ingredient in avoiding these scams, so consider yourself ahead of the crowd today just for attending. A little bit about Cyber Wyoming first. We're a nonprofit organization. We do not sell hardware, software, or technology implementation services. We have 3 main focuses: education and outreach, workforce development, we're a registered apprenticeship office for technology professions, and economic development, or outreach to businesses like yours. We have a lot of organizations and companies joining our efforts, like these amazing community-minded companies. So if you happen to have one of these in your community, these companies, and you see them around at an event, be sure to say thanks. So what have we seen in the wilds of Wyoming when it comes to scams? We actually started tracking this about a year ago. If you've attended previous WWBC Practical Cybersecurity webinars, then you've seen some of the examples. But this data is actually coming from Wyoming reports by your friends, family, and neighbors. As of the beginning of February, here's what we've seen in Wyoming. Now, a caveat. We have been running this report to Cyber Wyoming program for a little over a year. And although we send this out to 2/3 of the senior centers statewide, many organizations, and a whole bunch of newspapers, we don't have a ton of reports outside of a few cities. We would like to increase that participation, so feel free to forward your suspicious texts and emails to phishing@cyberwyoming.org. So the top scams in Wyoming are, the number one is attempts to steal your user IDs and passwords or your user credentials. The next one is fake product sales and fake orders. The next one is winnings. You won something. The fourth one is attempts to steal your personal information. And the final type of scam that we've seen in Wyoming in the top 5 is extortion. They'll threaten you unless you paid. The top companies and organizations impersonated in Wyoming are Amazon, PayPal, and the Social Security Administration. And note that on the Social Security Administration, this is usually a phone call. And it seems to start around the 1st of each month in Wyoming. So if you have grandparents or older senior citizens that you're friends with, warn your more vulnerable friends and family members about this call and tell them that it usually does come within the first 5 days of the month. The top cities that are reporting in Wyoming are Laramie, Sheridan, and Cheyenne. So why are we learning about what's already out there in Wyoming? Because education is the key. Talk to your friends and families about scams you've seen. It keeps them safe and it keeps you safe. 30% of those that did not engage with the scammer knew about the scam ahead of time. Only 9% lost money if they'd heard about the scam ahead of time, as opposed to 34% that lost money if they had not heard about the scam ahead of time. And if you feel something isn't quite right, listen to that spidey sense, because it's been proven to work. So now that we know what's in the wilds of Wyoming today, what should we prepare ourselves for in the future? Let's watch a short video created by researchers at the University of Washington using deepfake technology. And I'm hoping this video will come through pretty well. So let's try it out.
And the reason I love doodling is because I have to try and educate clients, and it's a lot more.
It got me thinking about my full-time employees and their ability to survive on $8 an hour in New York City. And foremost in all of our minds has been the loss and the grief felt by people in Orlando. Most of us don't get our health care through the marketplace. We get it through our job, which Medicare and Medicare. And what you should know is that thanks to the Affordable Care Act, your coverage is better today than it was before. Women can get free checkups. You can't get charged more just for being a woman. You as employees move together to pass a Congress bill that boost America's very, very hard times.
Some progress, at least within the small confines of the legal community. I think it's real important.
Here we go. President Barack Obama, when you giving a speech, make sure you line of thought. America's businesses have created 14.5 million new jobs over 75 straight months.
We developing technology. Every technology can be used in some negative way, and so we all should work towards making sure that it's not going to happen. And even one of the interesting directions is that once you know how to create something, you know how to reverse engineer it. And so you can, and so one could create methods for identifying edited videos versus real videos.
So that's just a short video about deep fakes. And I think it's really nice because it shows a little bit about what this new technology can do. But it's also a little disturbing about what this technology can do. And so how does the faked video of like Obama affect Wyoming businesses? And really, it's corporate scams and impersonating the boss. Scammers used voice phishing, where they stole the boss's voice, and they had the voice instruct a subsidiary company's CEO to send $243,000 to a fake supplier, and it worked. So if the boss asks you for something in a voicemail, you're probably going to do it without question, right? I mean, I would. But these deep fakes put a new meaning to that and a new caution to that. So if it involves money, be sure to pick up the phone and call to confirm. If you're a social media queen, you need to be extra skeptical online. It's common knowledge by security experts that profile pictures, full identities and profiles, video and audio can all be found on social media as complete fakes. While Twitter and Facebook have banned the use of these types of deep fakes, they still sneak in. And it's a really big problem. About once a year, you see big social media companies taking the news, making the news and clearing out fake accounts. Note there are even some fake accounts linked to the French military here, and this has happened in the US too. There was a researcher in the US that created profiles in social media. She put up a cute fake picture, made up a bunch of credentials, and was able to get into the social media networks of really high up people in the US government. Yet they didn't know her, and the persona she created was 100% fabricated. So how do they fabricate an identity like this? They cherry pick information from many different people. So they'll take a driver's license number from one person, a social from another, a picture from another, an address from another, etc. In past presentations, I talked a little bit about half stories. They're creating just enough fact that you believe the fiction. And this is why some people are hoping blockchain will help with identity theft. If a baby's identity is recorded with blockchain at birth and information is added only by the parents and later the grown child, then it will be easier to prove identity and harder for a deepfake to mess up your life. So how do deepfakes affect you personally? Here's just one example, the Grandparent scam. Scammers pose as a panicked grandchild in trouble, calling or sending messages urging the grandparent to wire money to help them. The child might say that they're in jail, need money to leave a foreign country, or got in an accident and might need help paying a hospital bill. And there have been reports of voice cloning and deep fakes where grandparents swear that they are talking to their grandchild. Hackers watch open social media profiles to find out when people are taking trips. Then all they have to do is make a few phone calls. Here's how else hackers could use deep fakes. Revenge. Your likeness could be placed in a video to embarrass you, cost you your job, or try to put you in jail in a faked crime. Pornography. Imagine the fraudulent actor putting a politician into a porn video. Medical misinformation. Imagine medical expert videos being doctored to provide misinformation about something like the pandemic. Political fake news. Deep fakes could definitely impact the next election, and we need to be on the lookout for them. Terrorist propaganda. Recruitment videos could show prominent Americans saying threatening things about terrorist leaders. Warfare. A deep fake could show a sitting president declare war and cause a panic. Government overthrow. It could be used to influence the masses and start a coup. And court proceedings. Fake videos could be used to prove false allegations. And this is all pretty scary. So how do you spot a deep fake? The first thing you want to do is look for the four unnaturals. Unnatural eye movement, facial expressions, body shape, and hair. Plus, odd skin colors and awkward positioning of the head or the body. You might want to look for odd lighting, like a shadow in the wrong place, blurry or odd colors. Look for lips moving, but they don't match the words coming out. It kind of makes me think of Meghan Trainor's song, I Know You're Lying Because Your Lips Are Moving. So yes, sing that song to yourself as you watch online videos from unknown sources. It will make that stranger danger click in and your spidey sense click in. And finally, listen for a robotic sounding voice. So how do you protect your company? The first thing is to make it a rule to always call if money is involved, always. Second, incorporate the latest scams seen in the wilds of Wyoming into your regular staff meeting. You can sign up for free to get alerts from Cyber Wyoming. And think before you post any video or audio online. Could it be used to impersonate company employees? To protect yourself and your family, the best thing you can do is create a family code word. If the person on the other side of the phone line or the text or the email does not know it, then you know that their request or urgent request is fake. This could really help out with a grandparent scam. Google yourself regularly and see what is out there. If you post a video on social media, add privacy protections. Don't take full-on face shots. They can be used to steal your identity. Generally limit what you share when it comes to video and audio, and log out completely of any social medias that you have and see what you can see when you aren't a friend or logged in. As the general public, you might be surprised that your security settings might need to be updated. What if you use your social media as news feeds? I know that I do. I follow some of my favorite news sources on my personal Twitter account, and it's a good way to stay informed. But sometimes you get some nutty posts out there, or some that look real but aren't. So just treat all social media posts by individuals like tabloid news. That celebrity is not going to have an alien lizard baby, even if it sounds realistic. Confirm what you read on social media before you repost it, so that we don't spread additional disinformation. And how do you confirm? Follow a reputable source. This graphic that you see here is from the League of Women Voters, and it's their media bias chart. I try to stick with those that the League calls neutral with minimal partisan bias, because the world has changed and the Fairness Doctrine is no longer in effect. We have to be more discerning about the information we consume. So what is the Fairness Doctrine? A lot of people think it was equal time, where the media had to offer opposing viewpoints equal time. That part's still in effect. But it's actually just a series of court rulings and FCC practices that managed broadcasters, not necessarily media, but broadcasters. And this was in effect mostly in the times before cable, when you could get ABC, NBC, and CBS via antenna. And I know I'm dating myself, but I used to have to adjust the rabbit ear antennas in my college apartment because cable was too expensive. So I remember this. It's also required broadcasters to operate in the public interest, and some of their time was donated to social issues. And this is how public service announcements like Friends Don't Let Friends Drive Drunk and the Schoolhouse Rock educational series were partially funded, with media donations that counted towards the FCC enforcement of the rule. In 1985, the FCC made the case that the doctrine hurt free speech rights, and the practice was discontinued. But we have to remember that in today's world of cable, the FCC would not have had the power over many networks anyway, because it's not coming across the free airwaves regulated by the FCC. And because the FCC stopped regulating, many of us don't know what news sources to trust anymore, and deep fakes are not helping. So it's really important to use multiple reliable middle-of-the-road sources to validate the information that you're getting, whether it's a grandparent deep fake, a CEO voice fake, or an item in the news. A friend of mine that's a reporter said that the local newspapers are still really good, reliable sources, because if they're wrong, then the community is in an outrage and everybody knows about it. And I think that's probably true, and we're lucky in Wyoming to have some healthy newspapers in our communities. On that aside, let's not forget about the more common scams besides deepfakes and possible fake news. These are the top scams Consumer Fraud Reporting says will be seen in 2021. The top two, debt collection and fake government officials, are probably because of the pandemic. And then come the standards, all of which we've seen in Wyoming, from phone scams to fake prizes to impersonation scams. And if you want to learn more about topics like these, consider another free program. We've covered an awareness topic today like deepfakes, but if you want to find out about more common sense solutions to small business security, we have a great free program, Wyoming Cybersecurity Competition for Small Businesses. Don't let the word competition intimidate you. The intent is to make it fun, but it's really just free one-on-one training that focuses less on tech and more on creating security-aware people, processes, and culture. The program started on February 1st, but you can sign up anytime. Those that register early are more likely to win and could go at a more leisurely pace, and winners speak at Wyoming Cybersecurity Conference. But if this makes you nervous, we can pre-record and stream your video. And the best part, it's free because of our members and sponsors, so take advantage of it. Our specialty is small businesses without IT help. You don't have to be technical at all. And there's a flyer with information in the handout section of the GoToMeeting panel. Kelly, a past participant, is going to be a peer mentor in the working webinars this year. She went from being a little nervous about cybersecurity to very confident, and you can too. You don't have to be in the competition to come to the working webinars, but priority is given to those who enter. And the first working webinar is later this week, and I hope to see you there. And one last reminder, signing up for alert information at Cyber Wyoming is free. info@cyberwyoming.org. Thank you for your time. Are there any questions?
Laura, great job. I think this is awesome to know. I didn't realize that deepfakes can be created so easily. It kind of scares me a little bit. You know, just knowing how many people have videos online, and influencers in general, where they have videos of their face and their voice every day. Like, it just seems so easy now for them to have their identity stolen. And particularly your physical identity, which is kind of new. So I just wanted to ask you a quick question, because I don't see any questions from our audience. Are deepfakes mostly over the phone, or are they videos on the web?
They're both. So the voice deepfake that faked out that CEO, and that was in Europe, and that was one of the first of its kind that they'd had actual fraud losses for, and that happened last year. However, the video deepfakes came out a little bit earlier before that, and I think it was just one of those one-offs where fraudsters said, you know, I think we could probably get some money this way, so we're going to try it, and they did. So, you know, putting your CEO out on video may not be the best idea. It might be better to put your intern out there.
Right. I guess it's kind of weird this year. Everything is online. So we're a little more risky to have deepfakes made, but I guess the awareness of knowing that this is possible is really important, so that we can spot when we think that a video isn't real, and then we can go and do some research to make sure that our assumption is right.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. So, and YouTube will actually investigate these videos too. I mean, they'll take them down if they think it's a deep fake. All of the major online brands will take them down. So if you have a suspicion that it might be a deep fake, or if you see something out there that isn't you, definitely report it and they'll take it down.
Okay, perfect. I know if you're in a management position or an executive level in your business, you might want to watch out for this, especially if your email and phone number are online. Is that true?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Yes. And, you know, and if you have an auto attendant, for instance, I know that Google Voice, for instance, they'll have an auto attendant, press 1 to talk to this person, press 2 to talk to somebody else. If it gives out the extensions and, you know, the full names of everybody in your organization, that also might be a little bit harder, because a little bit more a risk is what I'm trying to say, because, you know, they might know that Debbie's in accounts payable, for instance, and she's the one they're going to target with the deep fake. So, you know, be careful about what you put in your corporate listing of who's listed on your account and what their positions are, and then also be careful with your auto attendant.
Right. And is this something that the competition could help with, like establishing a strategy for avoiding, you know, business losses?
Absolutely. We talk about this a lot throughout the competition process, is just, you know, what are the risks? And we actually do go and look at people's websites to see how risky they might be, not from a vulnerability tech standpoint, more from an information standpoint. And we, you know, if they have their entire board of directors listed with all their bios, we might say, hey, you might want to take that page down, and here's why, and talk about things like deepfakes.
Okay. Well, this is interesting information. I think you must have covered all the questions because we did not receive any from our audience. So I think we should just go through those closing slides, and if anyone has questions, they can contact Laura using her email. And if they have questions about the Women's Business Center, I'll share our contact information here soon.
Thank you so much, Veronica.
Of course, I always think it's fun to learn about these things. Okay. Can you see my screen all right, Laura?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. The Wyoming Women's Business Center is made possible through several partnership agencies. Our primary funding comes from the U.S. Small Business Administration and the Wyoming Business Council. We are so thankful for the support and guidance of our partners, and we look forward to the work ahead. Of course, if you are interested in one-on-one business counseling, you can contact our business counselor, Jonathan Howdyshell. His phone and email are on the left side of the screen. And if you're interested in that list of resources and services available through the COVID-19 support program, my contact information is on the right side of the screen. And of course, if you just want to go check out all of our resources, you can go to wyomingwomen.org. and go from there. And if you like our webinars, we do have one this Thursday. It is Building Customer Relationships Online, and you can go and register by visiting our website at wyomingwomen.org and click on training to register for free. From that page, you can also see our past webinar recordings and visit our YouTube channel from there as well. Thank you so much for attending, and thanks again to Laura for sharing her expertise today. Please complete the survey at the end of this webinar and have a great rest of your Tuesday.